Morning, how are you?
Hello. Thank you very much for that introduction.
That was long. That's actually taken up a quarter of our time, so that means we've only got 15 minutes to talk about
Yeah, we're trying to work out if we wrote that or...
Yeah. So we're sitting down, hope you don't mind, because we're going to be standing up the rest of it today. So there are lots of you here, so put your hand up if you're a student. Like really high. Put your hand up if you work, if you have a job, kind of, regular job, and you work in technology. You're a technology kind of person. Put your hand up if you're kind of working in the creative industries.
Yeah,
person
at the back.
Put your hand up if you do something else. Okay, all right. So today we're talking about creative convergence, and what that actually means is people actually doing stuff together. We're not that good at that in Northern Ireland, so what we're going to do this morning before we do anything is a wee bit of convergence. So put your hand up. Okay, so everybody, if you have a heart for technology stuff, put your hand up if technology is at your heart. Put your hand up if, put your hand down. Put your hand up if creativity is at your heart. Right, okay. Keep your hand up keep your hand up if creativity is at your heart, like music, art, film. Right, keep your hand
Design.
up. And stand up. You people stand up.
Let's see the creative people.
Come on, you gotta stand up, you gotta make this work.
Let's go.
Right, okay, so people who are sitting down, talk to somebody who is, technology people, talk to the creative people, go, and you've got 30 seconds to talk about one thing which has impressed you over the last 2 days.
Should I bring that
Go.
off? Should I bring that off?
Now we're going to think of what we're going to talk about.
Do you know what? Do they know who's who, by the way? We introduced ourselves. Hands up if you think I'm Mark.
Forward, cool, okay. Okay, so just in terms of clarity, actually, this is Mark and I'm Colin.
Yeah, we didn't say that before.
Just so we don't get to converged.
Converged.
Is there a word? I don't know.
It is now.
So we have no script. We haven't actually written anything to talk about this morning. So this is going to be like a bit of a chat. It's like being in the pub with us.
Exactly.
Talking about lots of things which are really important.
At the start of the pub.
At the start of the pub.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd talk to you about this. This is a show which I've actually escaped for. We've both actually escaped about half an hour from actually making at the moment. It's a show called Lily's Driftwood Bay. It's a show for 4 to 6 year olds, and it's proudly made in Belfast, and that's the biggest part which I hope you take away from this morning. It's a show which we've been developing for 5 years now. So it started in 2009 with an idea, and in May it will premiere on channels like this. So these are the broadcasters that it's going to go out on. Nick Jr. in UK, Sprout in America, Kika, which is Germany's biggest preschool channel, SVT, which is Sweden's national channel, TVNZ, TV New Zealand, ABC Australia, MTV3 in Finland, RTE in Ireland, Hop in Israel, NRK in Norway, and the show is being distributed by our partners at the Jim Henson Company. And this is the really important bit you take away. It's made in Belfast, proudly made in Belfast. And this is a show which is it's all about a little girl called Lily, and it's about her adventures. So she'll find something washed up on the beach, and through. So she lives with her dad on an island, and every day something new washes up on the beach. And when she lifts that object, her imagination takes her into this place. What could this object be? Oh, maybe it's a whisk for stirring yummy things. And in her imagination, she goes across the way to Driftwood Bay, which is an island she can see, across the water. If you've ever been in Portrush, the scary. Oh, we're finished.
Okay.
We get fire alarm tests. We get fire alarm tests every Tuesday as well, so it must be Friday in Europa.
They got our secret code. Cut it short.
Talking too much. Talking too much already. Too much already. So she goes on these adventures. They're 7-minute shows, and they're all about community. They're all about discovery and imagination. And it's a show which we've been making here for the last year. There are 86 people working on it in town in Belfast. Created and produced and directed here in town in Lindenhall Street, just around the corner, and will be seen by probably 150 million kids from May this year. And that's kind of stunning. But we're here to talk to you about, and this is an example that we're using because it's a result of lots of people. It's a result of, so I'm the creator and producer, I'm also co-directing the show, but it's not all about me, it's about the people who are on the team. And myself and Mark are talking about it this morning because Mark is the composer for the show, and the music is a massive, massive part of it, and we'll talk to you about that in a moment. But we're going to show you a clip. You are the first audience to ever see a clip of the show, and this show premieres on the 5th of May at 5 o'clock. All the fives, 555.
Salty! You must believe me. Your honking haddock aftershave smells really bad.
Mouldering mudskippers, Lily. My honking haddock aftershave smells just fine. Will you please leave me in peace? Now, I'm having lunch with a very special hen.
I only wanted to help.
The smell of a rose is a treat for my nose, but there's nothing that shocks like the smell of your socks.
Good afternoon, sir. Table for two in the name of Mr. Dog?
That's the one, Nonna.
Hatch is not here yet, pet. Something around here smells terrible. I need to get some fresh air.
This smell is so bad, I must get some air. I think I must leave through that door over there.
Oh no.
So that. So that's just a little clip of our show, and it really is a case of, I know that the mindset that we have here in Northern Ireland is very much, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it all myself, and I'm going to keep my work covered, I'm not going to share my ideas because you might steal them off me, so I'm going to do it all myself, and I'm going to make my own film, I'm going to make it all myself, I'm going to make my own music, I'm going to make it all myself, and that's admirable, but we're here today to talk to you about the fact that when you collaborate and when you work together with people who know more than what you know, you can actually create things which are far, 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 far bigger. I mean, I could have thought, okay, I'm going to write all these shows, I'm going to write all the music, I'm going to voice them myself, I'm going to animate them, I'm going to do all of that myself. So apart from killing myself and actually being impossible to do that, the result of that, me doing that, would not be what you see on screen, because when you work with the best people that there are in the business, people like Mark as a composer, we've got actors. You heard Stephen Fry, Art O'Hanlon, Annette Crosby, Jane Horrocks, prime actors. Why I can't do better than they can do, and in the same way we've got the best writers, we've got the best animators from places like Aardman working in the show. I can't do that. I know what I can do, but I know that for me to do bigger and better things, I got to work with people who can do what I can't do, and that's about putting your pride to the side and actually opening relationships.
So the idea is that whenever you start thinking about a career in the creative industries, for those of you who are, or in the tech industries, you tend to focus down a single platform or a single arc. So that could be graphic design, or it could be music, as it was for me, or it could be fine art, or it could be animation, or it could be any of the disciplines that exist within the creative industries. And certainly, before I started writing music for television and music for visual media, my background was very much as a performer and the guy in the band and the guy who made the albums and went on the road. And I felt that, at a young age, that was how my career was going to develop. It was that stage in the 90s where each of the creative industries, as Colin's sort of been saying, felt like it existed within its own little box. So composition for television really existed in a very small sphere. There was blanket agreements with the BBC, as there still are, that meant lots of music could be used in television, but composers really were people who were trained as composers, came up through the ranks, worked in television, worked in film documentary, and there was a sense of separation. But of course, now we live in the digital landscape where all of these barriers and all these walls don't exist anymore. We live in this convergence-based landscape whereas you've just done the exercise that Colin made you do. You're all meeting new people who work in different disciplines than the discipline you work in. You're all creators of intellectual property. Intellectual property can be anything from a song, it can be a photograph, it can be a piece of fine art, it can be a widget, it can be whatever it is. So that's what you're all doing every day. Every time you do a doodle on a page, every time you go home and strum a couple of chords on a guitar, you're creating a piece of intellectual property. Now that intellectual property can exist in that box that I've talked about, or you can share it with other people. The idea that we're very much both advocating is that in Belfast specifically, as a great city for this to happen in the creative industries certainly, but also in wider industry, convergence across platforms creates extraordinary intellectual property. I would never say that, my work in Driftwood Bay makes it 100 times better, but what I would say is...
It does. I'll say it does.
The creative journey that I've been on through getting to know Colin over the last 3 years has absolutely changed the way that I approach the music that I make. We were talking downstairs about the fact that whereas in previous projects I've done a full series for someone and never met the director. We, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, one winter's December day, stepped onto a boat with Colin, the director, the post-production person, the script editor, and took a trip to Rathlin Island in December on a fishing boat.
On a stormy day.
On a stormy day.
With no life jackets.
No life jackets. This isn't being recorded, is it? My wife would kill me because I can't swim. And did a kind of 2-day creative workshop before really any serious work had been done on the project. But it was about bringing all those different parts of the creative industries practitioners that work in Driftwood Bay together just to have a creative discussion before a single episode had been written about what was going to happen, kind of led by Colin as the creative behind Driftwood Bay in its entirety, and then with everybody else feeding into it. It's that sort of thing that we're talking about, I think, that is so important in the creative industries, but can also work in the wider tech industries as well.
I've got to. I can't stress this enough. We make content for kids. We don't make grown-up TV. We don't make anything for anyone who's older than 11 years of age. So for most of you, that's sorry. But for from 3 to 11, that's what we do, and that's what we focus on. And we want to do it really well, and we want to make excellent work, and excellence is really important in all aspects. Here's something which I want to be really blunt about. I could have tried to find a way to make music cheap for this show. We could have found a way to buy a lot of stock music. And to be perfectly honest, most program makers do, it takes a lot of money to make a television show. We had to raise, we raised and will have spent by August nearly £3 million making this show in Belfast. That's how much it costs, and that's how much we actually have spent. Now, we could have cut corners on everything in that show. We could have certainly cut corners in music. I could have bought music, or I could have hired someone and retained all the rights myself, because that's what happens in the industry as well.
Yep.
But I believe from day one that if I'm aiming to make a show which is all about excellence and quality, I want the best actors, I want the best writers, I want the best animators, I want the best people throughout the whole team, but I want the best composer. And one of the reasons why this show actually got off the ground was because of how it sounds and because of the music. And for me, so myself and Mark share the rights in the music. And the reason why we do that, the reason why I want to do that, is because half of something amazing is much more than all of something which is a bit crap. And that's not something which you've got to take away with you today. If you are prepared to realize and be smart, and if you've got a great idea, for you, if you think that by retaining all of that and keeping it to yourself is going to make you, really successful, I think you're probably on the wrong path. By sharing what you've got with other people, you don't dilute what you've got, you actually enhance it. Because when you work with people who know more than you do, and you are big enough to admit that, then you can really make magic. And that's how great collaborations work.
And the other thing off the back of that is that Belfast, as a city, to have that happen in, this is the perfect city. And this is a really, I know it's been said a lot over the last 10 or 15 years, but at the moment, within the creative industries, we both strongly feel that we are sitting on the cusp of something extraordinary. Northern Ireland Screen, who some of you will know is the development agency that looks after all visual media across film and animation, television, just launched a new strategy going forward. I know that sounds quite dry, but actually it's going to be quite critical for a lot of you who are thinking of moving into this part of the landscape, because it really sets down a benchmark for what local government believes the creative industries can bring into the economy. And that's two things. Obviously there's spend, and that's really important for the local economy, for tourism, for the contingent industries around the creative industries. But I suppose for people like us who are in the trenches, it's extraordinarily exciting to think of that endorsement coming down from government towards practitioners like us moving forward. And then we, of course, look towards the people who can support us as we go forward, the next animators, the next composers, the next visual artists, the next people who will become part of our journey, because, as we've both said, we share constantly. I share with the people who work for me. Colin shares with me. We all work together. The result is fantastic content. That's what Convergence is all about. And we believe strongly that Belfast, unlike London, where, it can be very disparate, or other parts of the world whereby they still exist in these ghettos. We're all next to each other. We're all 2 minutes away from each other.
And it's Belfast has had time is up.
Finish that sentence.
Belfast has had more history than any city wants to ever have. Not exactly a colourful history, a grey and a dark history, and I kind of grew up through that. Mark did too. To see the city not just heal, but actually be restored through this new industry, which has almost come up out of nowhere to replace the traditional shipbuilding and the rope building industries. Technology, creativity in Belfast is thriving at the moment and will continue to. So, especially because so many of you are students this morning, you are the future of this city, and I'm a Belfast boy. We love the city that we work in, and we want to see the city continue to grow and to thrive. The creative industries are key to Belfast's success, and you can see that through Game of Thrones and through all of the other big shows, including this one, which are being made in the city. So be part of it, and do dream, but do believe that you can do it, and that that your ideas can be the next big thing, because they really can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good point to end on. We wish you a very good day for today.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us to the conference. We hope it's been useful. You can find more details about what we do on our respective websites, and really have a fantastic day.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for inviting us. Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.